Welcome everyone to another Max Range episode. Today is a little bit different. Today is about sales and fixes. Stay tuned. First up, sales. Right now, for this weekend, Bank Holiday Special, the 2nd of May 2024, Hornby are running a 15% discount on all in-stock items. So things like Mobil tanker, Carless tanker, maybe you also want to add a little bit more onto it, and there you go, you've got the brake van as well. Things out of stock aren't included. This BP tanker and the Benzol one, they're not in stock yet, so they're not included. The Fisons one is out of stock and therefore not part of it either. So let's say you wanted the 3 items mentioned earlier, the 2 12-ton tankers plus the brake van. Well, together they would come to £78.97 of your pence. However, you get to take 15% off that, so that's £67.12. Now, at £67.12 for 3 items, that's looking better. But we can add to that because you also get, remember, the hobby points, which is 10%. So that gets added for future purchases, but in effect, it's still a discount. That will be £6.70 worth of points. So you come out then effectively paying just £60.41. Barely over £20 per item of rolling stock. That's not a bad deal right now. Definitely worth looking at. And it keeps it over, these 3 items, as an example, would keep it over the £50, which means you get free PMP as well. Have a look at these things, play around with them, see if you get a good deal, if it works for you. This has happened before with Hornby, but they've tended not to have TT stock in before, so this is the first time really we can take advantage of it. So have a dig around. There is an ulterior motive here. Full disclosure, Hornby have also now granted me affiliate status, so there are affiliate links in the description below to all the products mentioned. You don't have to use them. If you do, it helps the channel slightly, costs you no extra. The discount just now is definitely worth it, irrespective of anything else. So hope that's useful to you. So much for the sales. Let's move on to the fixes. Right then, so much for the sale, time for the fixes. Looking at the Fison first of all. These are known not to be the best runners. Here's Carless giving you you can see particularly one direction, it's really quite poor. So I was looking to see what can be done. Lots of suggestions in the excellent Hornby forum. The Mobil one actually is the freest running by far, as you can see. Of the 3 I've got, really needs very little. There's no real problem with the Mobil at all. As you'll see later on, I did add a bit of oil, but it was not an issue. So what did I do? Mostly just try and take away a bit of material. So here's the Fisons. Really are lovely little models. Beyond the running issue, they're superb. But you can see there's quite a bit of movement in the axle on its pin there, which there really ought not to be, which is really the source of a lot of the issue. So it doesn't sit exactly where it's designed to, which means the wheel tends to come in contact with things it shouldn't. Now there's nothing on the underframe it come in contact with particularly because it's a tanker, but it seems still to be hitting on the brake shoes with a certain irony. They're so well designed and so closely located, so I've just got a Dremel end here, just taking away a tiny amount. Now these are fine models. Nonetheless, I was pleasantly surprised at how robust it proved to be. I thought I would do substantial damage because I'm not the most dexterous in these things, but just not adding too much pressure, let the stone do the work, take away a little bit of material at a time, flip it over, and then repeat, do the same on the other side. Keep at it. There we go. Just a little and often. You can see I've rubbed slightly away on the plastic there, and I'm now ready to add a wee drop of oil just into the bearing cups. Should really put in a bit less than that probably, but a tiny amount is all you need. Trying to get the camera in focus is not always so easy. And wonderful camera work, of course, apologies for that. But in a moment, you should be able to get the axle back in, and that's one running more freely than it had been before. Let it run in a wee bit, let it bed in. Not great by any means, but an improvement, and it's certainly better to, you can see how much movement there is on that still. So I'm still not quite happy with that one. Take it back out, still catching on something, just go at it again. Back in with the Dremel end, bit more material off. Now it's not in one sense solving the fundamental problem, which is that the cups to take the axles, they're just not quite right, and there's really nothing I can do to sort that particularly. But what I want is to have it running nicely, not make a mess of the model. Just a wee bit more off. Put the axle back in. Let's see if that helps any. Just little and off. And again, apologies for doing this some of this off screen. It's hard sometimes to see exactly where you're meant to be. You tend to lose focus. Well, I do anyway. That was running much better. That one you can still see is still not brilliant. Get on the track and we'll see that certainly improved and is a lot better than what it was. Okay, one down, one to go. You've seen it what I'm doing. Tankers are all the same. Here's Carless before, particularly in the reverse. Look at that. It really was terrible. It needed a lot of welly to get it to do much. So, and show you Mobil again here. I say Mobil is really a very free running run already, certainly for this batch. I had no problems with that one. I did add a bit of oil to it, as you will see. But working at double speed here, just to avoid tediousness too much. And again, I'm drifting off camera. You notice that you may notice the rotation of the Dremel end is anti-clockwise, so that it's bearing down and not pulling away from the brake shoe, but pushing it down, if you like, when it comes into contact. I found that it felt slightly more robust to work that way, rather than try and put it in tension and pulled away, to put it in compression, so that you're less likely to do damage. So it depended on which side I was working on, whether I had the Dremel spinning clockwise or anti-clockwise. Again, still not that great. Better, but not great. This is of course a double speed, but substantially better back and forth on a wee test there. Let's again keep at it. Let's get it as good as we can. Now, a lot of folk are uncomfortable doing this. I understand that. I took a while to do this. I've seen others make recommendations and I'm more cautious, so I took a while, but I do want them running well. Otherwise, I do love the models. We have seen from Hornby that they've addressed this. If you look at the last interview that Peach and I did with Carl Hart and Martin Weaver, they're aware of it. The new batch that are coming out, they have this addressed, so we're thankful for that. But in the meantime, don't be afraid of having a wee go at this. You will manage to get them running quite nicely, and if you don't derail them, of course, that helps as well. All right, Mobil one. Like I said, I'm just adding oil. This is at 4 times speed, so it really wasn't going that fast, first of all, but it was running well, as you saw earlier. So I'm just, again, removing the axles, adding a wee dab of oil. It'll do no harm. But like I say, if they'd all been like the Mobil one, I probably wouldn't have started this in the first place. But for the sake of completion, I figured in for a penny, in for a pound. And we're back at normal speed to show this now, which I thought I should have shown the before and after at the same speed. But there you go, the joys of hindsight. Now, one other one, which is the brake van, and the common joke is the brake van has its brakes applied. It's probably the worst of all the runners in some ways. But Carl mentioned again that this was catching on the underside of the body. So I've got right in here, I didn't have this on video, but I have taken photos so you can see what's happened. So that's all pristine, untouched. But trying to take away material from just where the flanges will hit. So you can see they've started to work away at it with a wee Dremel end. That's a slight closer view. And this did make the biggest difference of all the ones I was working on. I was most pleased with this. So a little bit of material there, that worked for me. I don't guarantee it'll work for anybody else. But for me, I did that on both axles. That was definitely a substantial improvement. And proof's in the pudding.
And what are the results? Let's have a look. This one's the poorest, but not bad. Worse that way. Try Carless. Not bad. Not bad at all. Haha. Well, that was me. Yeah, much better. Much better.
It's fair to say I'm much happy with that. Okay, that's really all for today, but do remember all of these are available, they're in stock, they're in the sale. Links are in the description to this video. Thanks very much for watching. Do like and subscribe.